Welcome back, everyone, to yet again more Toriko Unveiled. After a brief break, we're back to deliver a massive helping of the finest content you've ever seen. With Toriko and Zebra out of the way, we're gonna keep on moving to the next Heavenly King. But before, leave a like and maybe a subscribe if you have. And even if you don't, we're glad you're here to visit the Psych Ward for a heaping portion of Toriko content. Without further ado, let's talk about poison and explain my choice for anime's strongest poison user. Poisons are substances that can cause harm to organisms when sufficient amounts are either absorbed, inhaled, or ingested. Known as the art of silent killing in some cultures, poison has been long since used and feared in human history, with countless rulers falling to assassinations. Even in the animal kingdom, there are creatures like the blue-ringed octopus, whose venom, known as TTX, only takes 1 milligram and can kill a person, making it one of the most known, potent natural toxins. To put 1 milligram into perspective, it's smaller than the period at the end of a sentence. Relative to other venoms by weight, TTX is 10 to 100 times more lethal as Black Widow venom. Another poison all-star in the animal kingdom would be the most jellyfish species, as jellyfish stings use microscopic cells called nemesis. Contact with a jellyfish tentacle can trigger millions of nemesis to pierce the skin and inject venom all at once. Moving further, poison users and poison in general is a common ability type within anime. Many characters have it added to their moveset or adapted to their fighting style, or are ninjas. Poison is ironically one of the deadliest abilities, with so much as a scratch being the reason of death. Fighting poison users often proves not a battle of skill, but luck. Before getting further, I'd like to make a specific note that a vast majority of characters use poison in anime. It's almost like a comical TV trope, but they likely aren't immune to poison and aren't producing the poison itself, which would define it as a toxin. In terms of true toxic individuals, we have very few. The best examples would be characters like Magdalene, the former warden of Impel Down in One Piece, who ate the Doku Doku or poison fruit and became the Poison Man, a man capable of washing the likes of Luffy and the entire Blackbeard crew. Cobra from Fairy Tail, who through artificial means became the Poison Dragon Slayer and can control and even eat poison similar to how Natsu can eat fire. And Gordon from Black Clover, who though he looks like an animated Marilyn Manson, uses poison magic, not violent lyrics, to debilitate his opponent and aid his allies. But there exists a character that is the sum of every character and animal I've named, and that still does not explain how toxic he is. Today, we examine anime's strongest poison user, Coco, the gentleman of the 4 Heavenly Kings. And though his lighthearted name, similar to Zebra, Coco is classified as a Class 1 dangerous creature, not because of his violent nature or crimes he's committed, but because Coco is a walking science experiment. At one point in his life, Coco was hunted relentlessly by a group of scientists who sought to use him for tests and exploit his abilities. Why? It is because Coco is, as I said, anime's strongest poison user. Coco is not only immune to, but also the host of over 500 various poisons that synthesize to his own unique brand of toxin. If he doesn't have an antidote to a foreign poison, due to his extensive history of injecting and consuming poison, Coco can produce on-the-spot antibodies, his body being like a literal biochemistry lab, being able to break down and manipulate various bodily elements like acids, proteins, and etc. Coco's primary method of fighting is using the poisons contained within his body to quickly incapacitate his foes. These can take forms in solids, liquids, and gases, and he can control the lethality as well, being able to produce anything from mild stimulants to highly addictive drugs to 100% certain death in the form of flesh-eating or melting poison. And on the note of his flesh, Coco, when engaged in battle, almost like an animal's defense mechanism, turns the sickly purple, a color once often commonly associated with poison or death. When coated in his poison, Coco is no less than physically untouchable by any being not bearing a massive resistance to poison. This causes a great deal of creatures and opponents to instantly be shit out of luck against Coco. Even if you could attack him, the poison itself would eat you alive before you could hurt him. His poison is so potent that one shot paralyzed the regal mammoth, a literal island-sized creature coming in at 1.5 kilometers long, and ironically, Coco doesn't simply use his poison only as a deterrent. As a member of the 4 Kings, Coco is gifted with extraordinary vision. And when I say extraordinary, I mean that Coco basically has perfect vision. Something beyond 20/20, more like 20,000 20,000. Coco's eyes, due to their advanced nature, is capable of seeing far more of the electromagnetic spectrum than a normal human. And let me explain. Humans can only detect about 1% of EM waves. We simply can only see a small percentage of the EM spectrum, of which visible light forms part. We cannot see infrared, microwave, UHF, VHF, shortwave, medium wave, long wave, ultraviolet, gamma, etc. Meaning Coco, on the other hand, basically has night vision, thermal vision, and X-ray vision, and can even see within a person's body and determine their anatomy, shown in his fight with Grimpage, who had a body built like a natural detox facility. By reading the waves of the electromagnetic spectrum, Coco was even capable of predicting his opponent's next move, the future, or even see the omen of death on them, these coming with a near 100% accuracy. This is why in combat, Coco is also an expert marksman. His attacks range and vary from short distance to long distance attacks like poison dressing, a barrage style mist of poison droplets, later poison machine gun, or poison rifle or poison cannon, concentrated blast of his toxin. Poison rifle specifically contracts his poison ducts, causing the poison to spiral when fired and increases the accuracy and can change the trajectory. This extends to a plethora of other toxins and poisons, along with weapons. As well, his poison isn't limited to offense. Along with being toxic to the touch, Coco can excrete and harden his poison to create a shield-like membrane over himself and later full suits of armor. The armor being able to withstand acid, fire, blunt force, high-yield explosions, and Coco can even form the poison mixed with platelets in his blood and create weapons harder than steel like swords, spears, bows, and even boomerangs that he can use to further spread poison. If confronted with an enemy resistant or even immune to his venom, like the giant GT robot that was capable of swimming through the toxic sea known as Poison Tide, Coco is perfectly capable of leading his opponent into psychological traps, firing a gas-like poison that hardened around the robot's core, then luring the robot into a rut in the ground where more gas could collect so he could activate and concentrate a particular type of poison in the form of the volcanic gas aqua regia, and baiting the robot into triggering an explosion that allowed Coco to further shut down the said-to-be poison immune machine. By mixing nitric acid and hydrochloric acid within his body, Coco creates one of the deadliest substances known to man, aqua regia, being capable of melting precious minerals like gold or platinum, etc. This is actually an excellent nod to aqua regia's use in real life, as it was once used when Germany invaded Denmark in World War II. Hungarian scientist George de Fahese dissolved the Golden Nobel Prizes of two German physicists in aqua regia to prevent the Nazis from confiscating them. Going further, during the Four Beast arc, Coco reveals a suite of new abilities, first being virus manipulation. By adapting his cells, Coco can create a poison that is basically like him. Poison virus will infiltrate a target and change and adapt itself until it can identify the proper way to destroy the enemy's body. This virus is a perfect counter for other poison users, as the more resistances they have, the deadlier poison virus will become. During this same battle with Invite Death, Coco revealed mold manipulation, being able to create the mold spear, a weapon with a discharge speed of a mold spore, which he states is several times near the speed of light, and is said to be the fastest living, or not living, organic thing on the planet. And also at this point, Coco could use poison so dangerous and create armor so sturdy that Invite Death stood no chance against him. Invite Death, which was a massive monster whose power was capable of easily nuking kilometers of territory, and that scales similarly to Toriko's fight with Gao and Zebra's fight with the Magma Turtle, this putting Coco's durability and damage output by comparison continental to small country level. One of the more unique poison abilities Coco has is Poison Doll, where he can produce clones of people or objects that near perfectly resemble and can replicate the original's actions and personality, and can do this with an incredibly short amount of time. Not only shown in his battle with the Four Beasts, but the best showcase was that if not for Coco, all of the Heavenly Kings except Sunny would have died in their first round of games with the Monkey King. Coco was able to replace Toriko, Zebra, and himself with clones before sustaining any life-threatening attacks. The Monkey King arm wrestled Toriko, played Rochambeau with Zebra, blew Coco's knees out, thought Sunny was playing hide and seek, and finally sneezed, destroying the surrounding landscape, then left. Bambina did all these actions in under 1 second, 0.1 seconds approximately, in the time it took Sunny to blink, and thanks to Coco, the series didn't change its name from Toriko to Sunny. Once in the Gourmet world, like all Toriko characters, Coco receives massive power-ups, and at this stage in the story could produce massive amounts of poison due to food honor and mastering food immersion. He receives an oxygen-based healing factor from eating air, access to the back channel from another, and pair, meaning he can surpass the speed of light. By this point, Coco is like all the other Heavenly Kings, having entered large continental to planetary level, as they've all awakened their appetite demons, and Coco is outright stated to be able to subjugate an entire planet with his devil poison. I would like to propose that for Coco, his strength does not lie in his power-ups. pre-Gourmet world, Coco is already the strongest poison user in anime, though I'm sure someone can find some obscure Dragon Ball Z character that happened to use poison and then got fodderized. With so many various methods and types of poison, I'll still confidently say what makes Coco truly dangerous is not the fact that he is toxic or even his Gourmet selves. It's the combo of his spectacular vision and his brilliant mind. Coco has a brain like a supercomputer, along with fortune-telling prowess allows him to absolutely bankrupt casinos. A 1 million real slot machine that no natural human could ever perfectly spin outside of the world's best RNG. Coco would see it practically standing still. This 100-sided slot vertical-horizontal machine had 60 different symbols that rotated at a speed of 100 to 150 meters per second. With the further right one goes, the jackpot symbol becomes scarcer and the machine's speed maxing up as you would progress. To Komatsu, a normal human, he wasn't even able to see the pictures at all, and Coco once again saw it standing still. This prowess extends to reading the probability in card games and detecting cheating methods as well. The secret behind his fortune telling is, as I said earlier, his eyes. Through reading the EM spectrum, Coco can detect when someone is lying and read their emotions, minute body movements, and process all of this to produce mathematically certain odds for himself. Unlike Toriko or Zebra, who realistically are specialized tanks, and Sunny, who has an entirely unique ability in his hair manipulation, Coco is the most strategic of the four kings, the gentleman. Now, if you think that there is somebody in anime potentially stronger than him as a poison user, or even just stronger than him, go ahead and leave that down below in the comments. Thanks for tuning into another video, everybody, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Toriko Unveiled.